Hello and welcome to the Penno Channel for this match reaction to the latest Champions League game where Aston Villa drew 0-0 with Juventus. A game which we're all waiting for against a massive side from Italy, one of the biggest, most well-known sides. And it was a game that was full of drama, but no goals. I'm joined with my bro to go through this one. Bro, how you doing? Let's get through our thoughts of the game last night because there are many in it.
Yeah, I'm doing good, bro. Still annoyed at that referee and what he done in it, and we're gonna get into it onto the podcast. But looking back at it, I think a point. I'll take it, and I'll take a point in the end with how the game really played out.
Yeah, it's a good point. Based on the fact you're playing one of the best sides in Italy, one of the biggest, a side that has the most heritage within European and competition and within Serie A as well. When you look at the sides and when the draw was being made, when you looked at the ties and the potential teams we could have played, although there was a bit of added extra spice with the Douglas Luiz, Enzo Baranachea and Ilian Junior transfers, which is jokes that none of them were involved in the matchday squads for the game. You thought if you draw one of the big sides at home, it's going to be a massive occasion. We've ended up drawing two. One of those being Bayern Munich, and we all know how that went down. So the excitement coming into this game was, can we replicate it? Can we do what we did against Bayern Munich and have another night in the Champions League? And we were so close. We were so close to it, and it was all down to one man on that pitch. But yeah, bro, let's get into it, man. We were there. We were excited. We were ready to go. Driving to the game. Atmosphere again, as always, for those big nights. It was buzzing, man. There was so much excitement within the air, and it was going really well. Let's talk about the openings, the tifo that was out there, just the general feeling and buzz around Villa Park.
Yeah, I'll be real, bro. Obviously, I went into that game like a bit merry and sobered up real quick once that referee started his bullshit. Like that's how I felt at the game when he was just giving us nothing to start off. But speaking about the tifo, the Villa villain, character that was first designed in 1905, popularized in like the 60s, the 70s, just a real shout out to our culture and to our heritage.
Yeah,
and
facts.
Me and you were discussing it before it came up, like what are they going to do, what they're going to do next. That was the best one that we've done by far, because it was cartoon. It didn't have our players' faces on it. McGinn's scrunched up face in the tifo looking all like dystopian and that. It had the Villa villain. It's cultural. It looked really cool. And yeah, I think it was so sick. And seeing the feedback from fans as well today, like everyone loved it. Everyone loved the idea. So that was really cool.
Yeah. It's a very, very big nod to the culture of Aston Villa, and yeah, they got that spot on, man. It was top tifo, and when we saw it being lifted, we were like, yeah, this feels good. This feels like a European night. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you see the ones across Europe, and thought, yeah, that it belonged. It was really good. So props go out there. Do you want to jump into a few of the comments, bro, before we start and get into this cooking session of that ref?
Yeah, good. By the way, guys, if you are tuned in and you haven't already, if you could like the video, get the likes up to as much as possible, and subscribe if you haven't already. Michael says, driving home from work but listening. Ref was an effing disgrace, but I'm proud of the team. Duncan says, evening all, and worst ref ever. We was robbed. Will Munder joins us. He says, hi guys as well. So yeah, bro, let's get into the lineup. Villa put their lineup out. Was there any shocks for you in the team, or was it what you expected?
The only surprise for me was Ezri Konsa wasn't fit to start. I thought having been in training, both him and Kamara being in training, I thought if Kamara starting, then Konsa would be starting as well, but he didn't even feature within the game. So hopefully he's fully fit and available for the Chelsea game at the weekend. Apart from that, it was as expected. If Konsa wasn't to play, the back four was what I'd expect to see. The midfield two of Boubacar Kamara and Tielemans is what I expected as well. I didn't expect to see both Tielemans and Barkley starting. And then the front four, the same as I didn't see no changes, and I wasn't surprised with that being the four of McGinn, Rodgers, Watkins, and Leon Bailey starting. So yeah, no surprises really, except for Konsa being on the bench.
Yeah, Conte had that hip issue, and Emery was going to make a decision on him yesterday. He was always going to be in the squad, but I think Emery picked the team at like 5:45 or something, so he was a late one before they all found out. But yeah, Conte didn't start. Carlos at the back with Pau, and Matty Cash getting his first Champions League start. So it was looking like at one point that he was never going to get it, to be fair, this season. So I'm happy that he actually got to play, and he looked good, to be fair. Dean got the nod ahead of Matson at left back. And yeah, Boubacar Kamara, bro. I've never been prouder to have the Avi as my picture, because what a performance this guy put in.
Do you know what that performance last night reminded many fans, myself included, of just how good he is and how influential he is to us. It's no surprise that we reduced Juventus to 8 shots, 2 on target within the game. Their XG was 0.39 overall over the 90 minutes. So they didn't really create anything of any danger except for the header at the back post. But his performance is displayed not just off on the ball, but off it, the positioning, the interceptions, the defensive actions, the tracking back. We've missed that, and we really lack that. Okay, we have players. So we brought Amadou Onana, who I think in his defence is actually good, but on the ball can sometimes be seen to be wanting at times. And then obviously you have Ross Barkley, who's very good on the ball, but in his defensive actions and awareness, he's again, it's not his strength. It's not one of his strong attributes. Boubacar Kamara is just a gifted, rounded footballer, and we've missed him, man. So it's just an exceptional performance, and he's hoping he just stays fit, stays injury free. Let's hope there's no niggles picked up, and he can continue, because we missed him, man.
Juventus' team wasn't really a surprise. 8 players missing. They went Weah, Yildiz, and Coop Miners, with Locatelli and Foram as the pivot. Their defenders as well, all expected, with their keeper De Gregorio. So yeah, they were down to the bare bones. They were. I think they only had 6 subs, 4 outfield players. So that was crazy to see as well. The game started with them having most of the possession. Villa was sitting in their 4th.
I was going to say, how were you feeling seeing that Juventus lineup, bro? How were you feeling going into it?
Well, it's just the
amount of absentees and the lineup. What was your thoughts? Were you thinking, okay, this is still going to be a difficult task because it is Juventus anyway, or were you thinking we can really get at them here?
Well, I know Motta's a good manager, but I had that anticipation of, because he released the squad on Tuesday when they show who flew over, and not seeing McKennie, Vlahovic, Nico Gonzalez, and then they had Bremer as well, who was a longer term injury. Like, I was confident from then, because that's a lot of players that they're missing, bro. Like, really good players. But I know Motta's a good coach, and Juventus just don't concede this season. Their underlying defensive numbers are some of the best in Europe, let alone Italy. So I knew it was just going to be like a bit of a chess match, like just a bit cagey. And that's how the game started, bro. Juventus had most of the ball for the first 10 minutes. They were passing it around, trying to feel out Villa. Villa were defending in our 4-4-2 shape, as per usual. That's how Emery always defends. But this time we had Rodgers on the left with McGinn centrally pressing, when normally it's Rodgers and Watkins who press from the front. Kamara was going high onto their midfield, trying to suffocate them, not let them build out through Locatelli, who for me was their best player after the referee, maybe. But yeah, that was really interesting, Kamara as well. I think he just adds something so good to Aston Villa defensively, and he helps our structure so much. He allows other players to go forward. And yeah, I thought our shape off the ball was pretty good. They weren't really threatening like that. But I just knew, when you have 2 guys like Emery and Motta, who are just like tactical masters, like with all the detail they go into in the position, like, it didn't surprise me that the game was like that, just feeling each other out.
Yeah, it did, and it seems like the chances were restricted in that first half. Wasn't many for either side. I think Villa had the better of the chances, in all honesty. We saw Pau Torres have a decent attempt from a header from a cross that came in. We also saw later on into that some unreal play from Boubacar Kamara, receiving the ball on the edge and like doing a nice move with the ball at his feet and playing through Ollie Watkins, who had a really good chance and a really good attempt on goal, which was saved as well. I think we reduced Juventus really to that Yilmaz cutting inside and that shot as well. There wasn't much from him. I think Timothy Ware had a shot as well, which was on transition from one of our corners again. But we dealt with it much better than we have been, and he had a shot from distance that just went over the bar. So in terms of chances overall in that first half, it was very restricted. We'll go on to Luka Dean and free kicks as well. Obviously, he hit the bar, but overall, as a contest, it was a chess match. You bang on it. That's how it was visibly. We knew Juventus were going to have the majority of the possession in that first half, and they were going to try and break us down. And what surprised me about Juve as well, and I can understand why their defensive numbers are so high, is their energy and their fight to get back into shape. What surprised me last night was because Juventus, considering the stature of the club, there was no arrogance in how they were playing. They were not afraid to sit 10 men behind the ball. They were not afraid in instances if we were pushing hard to sit 10 men behind the ball. And if anything, play similar to how we do in a defensive shape as with the 4-4-2 and make sure they restrict the spaces in between. Which again, that's credit to Motta's coaching, because as much as he likes to be open in terms of how wide his players are within the middle and at the wings as well, when they defend, they're more than happy to close it and restrict it for the centre of the pitch. So yeah, that was a surprise, and to see that Juve weren't afraid and they respected us, they respected our play, especially when we had the ball in their half.
Yeah, facts. Kevin says protected species, goalies in the Champions League and in general, incompetence or corruption. Listen, the way that game was looking yesterday, I'd say corruption, man. That's how it felt. Duncan says the positive is we looked much better with Kamara in the middle. 100% agree. Kevin says Bailey, whilst not as good as last season, I feel he's slowly getting better. I agree with that take as well. Bailey's an interesting one because it feels like people are judging him in the games based off the whole season and not what he's actually doing in the game. Like, I thought he was probably Villa's best attacker yesterday. I mean, it's not saying much. I don't think we attacked that good, to be honest, but he at least created a big chance for McGinn in the second half. He puts the corner in for that Pau Torres header that you mentioned before as well. And you just got to think, when Bailey's facing up systems now, he's always facing a 2v1 or even a 3v1 at times. And for any winger in the Premier League, I think that's a difficult task when you've got two players to try and get past and attack the box. Like, if you don't have like an overlapping right back constantly that a player like Saka's afforded at Arsenal, or even underlapping, then it's going to be tough every game, bro. And whilst I don't think Bailey's been amazing this season, I think he's actually been quite poor. Recent games, I think he's improved. And I can also see the context of him having an impossible job where he's always got to beat 2 or 3 players.
Yeah, I agree. And I think these, Matty Cash's appearances and being available for the game and a half recently, only just benefited Bailey in the play and his play, because he has more space to operate. If Matty Cash is showing a willingness to either underlap or overlap for him, just gives him that extra space and it takes a man away. So he's more in a position where he's 1-on-1 instead of facing 2-on-1 3v1s. We always see those scenarios, and sometimes it can benefit us if Bailey has 2 or 3 players on him, because that means it's dragged a number of the opposition across. If he plays that back pass, which sometimes gets spoken down on, if he plays that pass and then we switch the play to our left back, if it's Dinho or Matson, that means they're going to have an overload on that side. So it can sometimes work in our favour as well, which I see comments like, oh, Bailey's just passing it backwards. Well, it's retention, and he's dragged a number of players. There's like 3 players on him. So if anything, that's created space in other areas of the pitch, which we can then utilise as well. So I do think he's been judged based on his season as a whole, which hasn't been great. But I think in the last 2 games, he's more than shown that he's been a threat, and he's created our biggest chances in those games as well. So I see improvements in Bailey's game, and I think the Matty Cash starting as well. I thought I had a really good game yesterday. I think him playing behind him has allowed him more space and another player he can link play with. Yeah,
100% agree, bro. Should we talk about it then? The referee, the Juventus's 12th man. How bad was that yesterday in what you've seen at a Villa game? And at any point, did you genuinely feel like it was a fix?
It felt like we were involved in that scandal of yesteryear of the old lady. I don't know how do you pronounce it, bro, in Italian? What was the scandal called? Begin with C. I
Oh,
forgot
bro,
how it's
I did GCSE Italian in it, but I ain't got a clue.
and you
bro.
can't even say it. Sally Central or something
Say
like
it, bro.
that.
I don't even know what it is.
I
Bro.
can't even remember. I can't even remember how it's pronounced. But it was the whole match fixing
Was it like
scandal.
Calcio Poly or something like that?
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Yeah, Calcio Colli, yeah, which was the name of the whole the match fixing scandal that obviously got Juventus relegated. Was it to like the third division within Italy? It felt like we were a part of it last night. The renaissance of it, the second coming, because bro, the referee and the decisions he was making. It started off with the initial bookings and how early the bookings were taking place in comparison to both sides. I think we both made the same number of fouls, and yet in the first 12 minutes, Villa already had 2 bookings. For fouls, which were a bit innocuous, there were fouls, but they were not the worst. I don't think they were deserving of the bookings. And for both players, I think it was the first foul they'd made in the game as well. Whereas simultaneously, Juventus players were making fouls and not a card was being shown. And even some players had made multiple within that half and didn't receive a booking. So that got everyone on edge, I think, from that point. Just the decision making he was getting. There was a 10 yards one where a player didn't go 10 yards and the ball hit off him. There was no retrospective action for that. I don't know regarding the contest. I don't know if you got that cleared, bro. About physios being on the pitch in the Champions League.
Yeah,
and
apparently
not have to go off the pitch.
Apparently, if the tackle's a yellow card tackle, he doesn't have to go off the pitch. But it wasn't even a yellow card tackle, bro. It was just BS because of everyone. Let me get onto this. Let me get onto it. You're being kind, bro. Like this guy is.
Go on.
Bro, genuinely, we were up a hole in it. I was hoping that someone, you know how someone dashed the cabbage at Steve Bruce for the greater good. I was hoping someone ran on the pitch, bro. I'll be so real and just smacked him one, bro. Because firstly, he was booking Aston Villa for fouls that Juve players were committing as well, and that's one of the biggest signs of a fix is the booking patterns. Do you remember Crystal Palace away, Kevin Friend, when he was booking our players for the same? Bro, same thing was happening. He booked Bailey for putting his hands up and arguing about a decision. Bailey didn't even commit a foul. Booked him. Didn't book their players. Didn't put Fulham. Fulham got away with so much early on in the game. Then us taking a free kick, bro. 10 yards, bro. He wasn't even 5 yards back. And we've kicked it. The referee sees it and he just allows the play to go on. They have the ball up high when it should have been an automatic booking. Should have been an automatic booking, bro. Didn't happen. What else did he do? Yeah, okay. The physio one was fine, but it just felt like we were just up against it, man.
It was just the decisions, the fouls. He was not giving us the blatant fouls. He was not giving us those decisions. And this is all first half, by the way, because I said something. I tweeted something about just can we have a competent ref is all I asked for, and that was at half time. So we were feeling it at half time. It seemed very, very, very sketchy the way that the game was being managed by and controlled by the referee and the decisions he was making. He was getting throw-ins wrong as well. Like, you remember, he was like, even the lino, they were waiting for the referee's calls on decisions and they had better views of what was going on, and yet they were still writing on the ref, who was then just giving dodgy decisions in that part as well. Yeah, man, it just felt, it felt very, very, very... like we were being done there.
Corrupt.
That's the word I want to say. Corrupt. It felt very corrupt in that first half, man.
And the thing is, for me, bro, I'm one of them guys that's actually reluctant to start blaming refs for performances and that. But that was too much. That was just too much one way. And he didn't even make it discreet. It was from the first minute he was on bullshit. But like, nah, man, come on, man. Like the level of competition seems to not impact the quality of referees. Like it's just bad.
And I thought last season in the Conference League we had some bad refs. We had some bad refs in it, and there was a game last season. I can't remember, but the refereeing performance was disgraceful. We complain and we hear about the complaints of the Premier League referees, but in the biggest competition in Europe, this ref has history as well. You got Declan Rice saying to his face that he's fixing matches, blatant saying the match is being fixed. He has previous history. There's other games where he's been...
Man, like, bro, he saw Declan Rice in a claret and blue top, and he thinks he played for Aston Villa or something. Like, Same with Jude, bro. Jude had a go at
Oh,
him, and he must just think
yeah,
like
that
Jude
was it.
is a Villa
Yeah,
fan because he's from Birmingham, bro. Like we just got done off stuff that weren't even relevant to us. Another thing that I noticed when we were taking our corners and we were doing our thing on the keeper, he's going over there to tell our players off,
yeah.
saying, "If you do anything, I'm gonna blow up." He didn't do that once with Juventus. That's like like in a boxing fight where you tell one fighter that they're leaning or they're doing something. It impacts like the fight during, and you don't tell
And the
the other guy.
mentality as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
man.
impacts
So
the
you can't.
mentality because then you won't do your set pieces and your
Yeah,
routines because you
exactly.
just feel like they're going to be blown up straight away. Yeah, it's a
Bro,
joke. It was a joke.
absolute joke, man. And he's obviously so like cliche for a football fan to blame the ref, but that was something different last night. That was
Felt
something
it.
different. GA's joined us. He says, "Hey, hello, boys. Hope you're all good. Thanks for joining us, GA, bro. And everyone, if you're joining, please like the video if you haven't already. We really appreciate that as well." Will Munder says, "Match fixing bets on a 0-0 draw." Kevin says, "I thought an arm pointing to the center circle from a referee
Facts.
means the goal. Confusing." Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Michael says, "Surely the ref has to be investigated." GA says, "Italian mob money, innit?" Kevin says, "Kevin Friend was a Leicester City fan, anti-Villa bias as well." And Duncan says, "Foram should have been booked on the first challenge. What a draw." Yeah, exactly, man. There was no consistency in the decisions and the yellow cards.
Bro, and the hooks at the end, it felt like something like The Godfather. Have you seen the images? Have you
I
seen the
ain't seen it,
images,
but
bro?
I've heard about
Bro,
like
the
he was going to.
images, you got Motta hugging up everyone, every official at the end of the game, paying his respects. Jesus, man. Yeah, we've been done, and we ain't even got into the biggest decision yet, the biggest controversy. And before all of that, it felt like we'd been done all game anyway. But yeah, bro, we go in at 0-0 at half time. I'm happy with the performance. With that, it was very reminiscent to Bayern. I think we restricted them to less chances in the first half, and I thought, okay, they had more possession, but there was minimal threat from both sides. To be honest, I think we had the better of the chances, as I said, but they had more of the ball, and that was my thoughts going into the second half.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say happy. I was happy, but it was just expected. I thought we were a bit stale in possession going forward, just a little bit. Would have just liked to see a bit more, just a bit more going forward, using our left side a bit more. Obviously, our big chance came from the set piece from Powell's header, and then it took a bit of like ingenuity in Kamara to do that fake shot, send them one way, and pass to Watkins for the chance that you already mentioned. I thought Cash as well. Whenever Cash got the ball, he's always passing back. And I was watching his body language on the rewatch of the game, and it seems like he wanted to get forward and help, but it was almost like it was instructions because Emery wants to control the transitions and make sure we're not caught out. So I think there was a bit of frustration from him as well on that side. And of course, it leads to Bailey facing up the 2v1s that we spoke about. And again, we've mentioned it in the past when Morgan Rogers, if his touch just isn't crisp 100%, like we feel it as a team, attacking wise. And yeah, I think Rogers he did not have a good game yesterday. I think he'd be the first to admit it. It's just the little things like loose touches, trying to beat a man and it not happening, losing the ball in areas in the middle of the pitch. Obviously, in the left-hand side, which is a new role to him this season. He's played there last season. But yeah, just didn't look comfortable at all. And I don't think it's actually down to the position. I think he's played poor like that centrally as well. I think it's either a loss of confidence, or maybe we've set expectations too high after that Arsenal game, and he was maybe just a one-off. Because whilst I hate to blame Rodgers too much, because I think he can be a scapegoat sometimes if the attack's not performing, and he has played well. Yeah, he looks like he's going backwards at the moment.
He made a joke and he said he went to England and he saw the standard and it shook him up a bit. Can't be that, man. Like he was had the most confidence before he got called up, and his ability. I don't think I remember him driving with the ball once, and that was I think around the 80th minute mark. That was the first time I saw him drive with the ball and beat a man. When he touches off it in the first 5 minutes, you know that he's not going to be involved as much as he usually is, and he was played really safe as well when he was getting the ball. I don't know, he just didn't trust his touch, and we saw what he did to Bayern Munich. He was against some of the best players in the world. He was just breezing past them. We've seen what he's done to Arsenal as well. So he has all the ability to do it. It's just, it's confidence at the moment, potentially. Obviously, as well, he's a young player. Like, he's not going to be good every week. That's high expectations, and he might just be going through a patch at the minute. But I expect him to get back to the standards he set early in the season. It's just not working for him at the moment, and hopefully he can find that form as soon as possible. Potentially might be rested as well at the weekend. We can go into that on another video, but yeah, he was just a bit off it. Yeah, last start.
Yeah,
again.
I just want to quickly talk about Juventus's chances that they had as well. Most of their joy was coming down their right hand side through Francisco Conceição, who I thought was incredible. He did one move straight away at the start where Dean went to press him, and he Ronaldo chopped it past him. And I thought, as soon as I seen that in the first 2 minutes, I was like, oh my God, this guy's on smoke today. Like, we're just going to have to be wary of him. He had a shot that went to Martinez's near post. He tried to catch him out in the first half, but Martinez was never going to let that go in. They had the Weir shot over the bar from our own free kick, I think it was, on transition that they had. But it didn't really cause any danger. And Yildiz had that shot as well that went wide. So we're not talking big chances at all, really. Most of the shots were just pop shots outside the box. And I thought we defended it quite well.
Yeah, so moving into the second half, bro, did you expect any changes to occur, or did you think we just set up as continue as we were? And it felt like Juventus second half they started to try and play more open. They started to take more risks in their play, but the initial moments of the second half, it felt like we were building momentum and we were going to get a goal in those first 10 minutes.
Yeah, facts, bro. I'm just going to go into some comments before we do speak about the second half. Kevin says, I'd drop Rodgers, by the way, and play Maatsen on the left wing ahead of Dean at Chelsea, just a thought. GA says, didn't Emery say before the game that I hope Villa fans will enjoy this one or something? But the game plan was so plain attackingly. The only player that played with passion last night was Boubacar Kamara. So yeah, bro. Second half, as you said, first 10 minutes. Which chances that Villa had, or which opportunities did we create that was making you think, okay, we could score here?
I felt it wasn't chances as such. I just felt the momentum. We were camped in their half. We picked up the big free kick, which Bailey took as well. But it felt like the possession and the shift of the game had changed. We had more of the ball. That was when Juventus started to sit in their shape, and obviously when they started to have 11 men behind the ball, it felt like the momentum had shifted, and we had a period about 10 to 15 minutes where we would camped in their half. Pretty much the ball was coming back to us, and it was just a case of could we break them down from that point, which again we struggled with all night in moments. But it did feel like the first 10-15 the momentum was in our side. We'd come out looking to get the first goal.
Yeah, facts, and it's a good point what you said about Juventus. They were 11 men behind the ball for a good 5-minute period, like straight, like where they just didn't move out of that shape, where we would just knock it around them. I want to give a shout out to Diego Carlos, who I thought passing was incredible again last night. He played that first pass in the first half to Watkins over the top, and it's just like, why can't you do this every game, man? Like, he's been quality in the last 4. He's been quality in the last 4 Champions League games. Like, is he telling us something that he doesn't, that he's not asked about the Premier, but he'll give you a game in the Champions League? Like, it's incredible. Like the difference in level. I thought he was strong in his duels. When they were pressing him as well, I thought he was knocking it around the back really well. And Jay looked really comfortable. And
do you know what gets me with Carlos? Yeah, is in the Champions League he's more aggressive with his play. Do you notice that in the competition? And no, it's just his defensive actions as well. Like the way he marks. So when he was marking Timothy Weah or Harry Kane, for example, he's right up and touch tight. Like, you see, sometimes he tries to wrap as well. In a competition where usually free kicks and fouls are given more generously, which are historically compared to the Premier League, Carlos seems to play more aggressive in that competition than he does in the Prem. In the Prem, he's more lethargic. I think he's not aggressive in terms of control. He's more rash. But in the Champions League, he's aggressive with his play, but he's controlled with it as well. And there's certain actions when Timothy Weah was like, to say the ball was in the air, he was coming to his feet, Carlos was touch tight on him and pressurising him, and he was winning the ball in moments as well. And I remember in the games previously, obviously against Harry Kane was a big one because he defended superbly against Kane in that game. I restricted him to two chances, which were decent chances, but that was it. It just confuses me. Carlos confuses me, man. He is a straight that guy.
You know what it is? I've deeped it. maybe it's not the competition. He's a night game player at Villa Park. Like, it's got to be dark, yeah. Think about Man City last season, Arsenal last season, Bayern Munich. Bro, when it's late, yeah, as soon as it goes past 6:30, yeah, something just switches in my man, and he's just cold. But when it's like these 3
this
p.m.
guy's
games,
nocturnal, man.
Yeah, man. Like, this guy's sleeping pattern must be mashed up, man. That's why he must concentrate when the games are later. But jeez, I can't believe the level, the difference in level between a Prem game and a Champions League game for him.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad.
Saying that though, my theory is rubbish because he gave the pass away against Crystal Palace in the League Cup. Maybe only serious competitions then.
Nah, the lights have to be the brightest, man. It has to be the big moments. He just turns up for the big games. Big games, yeah. If he's playing, first or second in the Prem, or he's playing one of the Champions League, big clubs in the Champions League, he'll show up and show out. Everything else, you're going to get 60 minutes of lethargic play.
Yeah, facts, bro. And so then as the game went on, bro, the biggest chance of the game fell to Juventus firstly. What a save this is from Emi Martinez, Madness. Man. This is literally one of his best. We did the whole presentation before the game, shouting out his second Yashin trophy that he won, had a massive flag commemorating his achievement. And I thought, you know what? I hope that he doesn't make a mistake today. I hope that he just fully steps up like he does most times. And bro, he saved us, because I thought this was just one of the moments that it's just a goal and Villa just get done from a set piece. Yeah,
it did feel like that, and it's an incredible save. We didn't, from where we're sitting, obviously we don't have the best view anyway, and we thought he's done well to get down and save it. But having seen the images after, and obviously the goal line technology and the image produced, and how many millimeters it was away from being over the line, it's an incredible save. It's virtually behind him, and he's managed to claw it off the line. And he looks up for it's going to go in, and somehow he's managed to stop it from completely going over the line. And the presentation done before the game, he proved once again why he received that award back to back, and made just probably one of the best saves in the competition this season so far, in terms of the reaction time and managing to keep it from going over the line. Massive save.
Yeah. And then later on into the game, bro, we have our biggest chance of the game. I think it's Tillemans that works it to Bailey, or it might have been McGinn as well. And then Bailey's faced up with a 2v1. He does that step that we saw last season, and he gets separation.
Shimmies the ball. Yeah, it's good.
Gets to the byline, and it reminded me of the Arsenal goal, where he's gone and he's just cut back diagonally into McGinn's path. And McGinn scores against Arsenal, but he misses this one. I actually thought it was a keeper save, but looking back,
Locatelli, bro.
Yeah, the finish is fine. The finish is fine, bro. Like, he's beat the keeper, but Locatelli does the right thing, and he's intelligent, and he runs back and clears it off the line. And you just think, that was the moment, man, because the game was scrappy, I'll be real, in terms of chances. Like, there wasn't massive ones in open play. That was a massive one. And you just got it like that. It didn't go in, man, because you go 1-0 up, and the control that we had, we let them attack us, they leave gaps. I think we go on to win the game.
Yeah, I think we get more if we break the deadlock in that game.
Because you got to think last season, that's what's happening as well. We were always leading in most of the games.
Yeah.
Whereas this season, we don't lead. I don't think we've taken a lead. One game this season, I think we've been leading at half time in the Premier League, and that was Leicester. And then in the Champions League, it was Young Boys. So
yeah. There's another thing where I think last season, how many games did we get early goals, like the first 10, 15 minutes in games at home?
Yeah.
To take the lead. So many games we did that last season. This season, we've not done it at all. I think the earliest goal we scored is Watkins, and both were Watkins in the 36th minute. The one being the equaliser against Palace, and the other one, I think, was it Everton? It might have been Everton.
I think, are you saying at home? At home or?
At home, yeah, at home.
Yeah.
So and both those times we've been losing, so we haven't taken the lead like that early in the game at home, which was one of the big reasons we went so many games, winning so many games, and went on that record at home previously, because we were taking the lead. We were then able to sit back and stay in our shape. We weren't overdoing it, and sometimes teams would come at us, and then it would create more spaces, and then we'd go on and win 2 or 3 in those games, because there'd be more spaces to go and capitalise from. This time we're just putting ourselves in trouble in games, and we're having to come back from being behind, which is tough, man. Teams can't do that. And I think we were up there for the most points from losing position so far this season of getting that, because we've been losing in a lot of
By
games.
default.
Yeah, by default, exactly. So it's not a bad stat to have, but it's not the best one, because you want to be taking the lead and seeing out the victories, which we were one of the highest for last season. When we did take the lead, we didn't drop many points. So yeah, saying that, yesterday there was no goals, and obviously it was a 0-0. But take the point, man. Take the point. Before we go on to the biggest decision of the whole game, we'll stress that. Yeah, I think I take the point just because of, we go to 10 points and we move on into a decent position for still obtaining top 8, I think. But yeah, as you were saying, bro.
Yeah, so the substitutions, bro. I spoke about Emery again. This is just what I believe, and I think the 12 minutes to make a difference. Like, it's just no time. It seems like the balance has gone a bit as well with Watkins and Duran's minutes. Normally, Duran was getting half an hour before. Now those minutes have gone a bit less as well. We've seen him start less games as well. I don't know. It just feels a bit unfair. I'll be real, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, 78th minute, Duran comes on for Watkins. Ross Barkley comes on for Boubacar Kamara, who gets a standing ovation, deservedly, bro. My man of the match for Aston Villa. And Barkley comes on, so I think Emery was looking to say, okay, now we got two of the same type of profiles in midfield that are more creative in that sense. We'll risk not having the anchor in Kamara by trying to go for the win.
Saying that, bro, some of Kamara's passes last night, that one he played over the top for Watkins, and some of it, he was playing some quality passes, wasn't he? As well. He wasn't slacking on his ability on the ball last night.
So yeah, and Juventus brought on Mabangala, I think that is how you say that, for your D's. And then, bro, in the 86th minute, Villa brought on Philogene for Leon Bailey. So those were our 3 subs that we used up.
I felt sorry for Duran last night, because as you were saying, he did get on late as well. And I thought his general play when he was on the ball was good yesterday. Maybe sometimes his position in the press, maybe that's the thing with Unai and Duran. I don't know what it is, because I think when he has come on, his general play has been good. His hold-up play has been good. His touches have been good. His passes, he plays the right pass. He plays at the right time. And in the last few appearances when he's come on the pitch, he hasn't been getting any chances to make a difference. He's not been beating, the balls haven't been going into the box at the right times. I thought there was opportunities to play the ball to him yesterday again, and we were slow to do so. We made the wrong decision. Either Luca Dean or Morgan Rogers, especially. I remember there's opportunities to play goal. John McGinn as well. I remember he played a poor pass when he was in the corner. The final ball was just poor, and I felt sorry for Duran, because he was making the right runs. He was coming short. He was getting on the ball. He was making the right passes at the right times as well. He was even making the runs, and the ball just weren't coming to him. So yeah, I did feel sorry for him, especially last night, because again, it was reduced minutes compared to the half an hour he had been getting previously before the last international break. And I thought he was doing all the right things, and the only thing that wasn't happening was the ball coming into him in good positions within the box.
Yeah, like I get it if he was coming on and just like trying pop shots from everywhere and just not passing and just being selfish, trying to like maximize the minutes he was getting. I'd understand the criticism a bit more, but he's coming on, he's dropping deep, he's turning, he's laying the ball off straight away. And all he's asking for is the ball back, and he's running into the space. We've seen that he can finish. He knows where the back of the net is. And it's like they're just not passing to him. I don't know what it is. Like, it just seems a bit mad to me. Like even Carlos at the end, like we bigged him up, but he was carrying the ball. He ran all the way. He looks to his right. He sees Philogene and Duran in open space, and he goes, nope. Looks to his left, and then he goes to play it. And then by the time he's done that, like the guys come back and taking the ball.
I'm telling you, that guy's nose was bleeding when he was running with that ball. He didn't know where he was on the pitch. He's never done that in his life. So I'll forgive a centre back, but I think other players in behind, especially your McGinns, your Rogers, Tillemans, who are playing, even Bailey at times, just feeding the ball sooner, giving the opportunity. I always think back to the goal against Leicester, the header. That was a header out of nothing. Literally, Digne put the ball in. He had to rotate his back and his positioning to get his head on it. Yeah. Just put the ball in the box. Do more. Do more. Because he has the ability, but yeah, it didn't quite happen last night.
It's just like the players are just forgotten like who's up front for them. Like Like cross the ball into him. Like we need at this point, we are in the situation where if the attack does get a bit stale, like it has done this season a lot of times in Villa games, like we are going to have to rely on, should I say it, the dreaded phrase that my man used to say, Gerard, a moment of magic for and He's one of them guys that provides that. So yeah, I'd just like to see better service, man. Better service. So yeah, bro. Just wanted a quick question. Was Leon Bailey out of order for taking that free kick from Dean? Have you watched the footage back? What did you think about it? Because I've watched the footage back and
talking about it at the time.
One time, Bailey like pushes Dina's hand away.
Yeah. I see it from both point of views, but I was saying to you, I said Dina's had two to feel it out in it. So my thought process is he's had one that's gone over the bar. He's had one that's hit the bar, and then for all from similar positions. So he's felt himself out. He knows that, you know, the routine now. It's repetitions again. You do that in training over and over again. So he should have a feel for how hard he has to hit the ball, the technique to get it on target this time. So I thought Digne should have took it. I thought he's hit the bar the last one. It's a similar position. He'll know how much pace, power, just from doing it previously within the game state. But yeah, Bailey wasn't feeling it, weren't having it, and he wanted to take it, and I can see his point. He's like, you've missed two. It's my turn now.
Yeah, he's probably just saying, make it go on with yourself. Just get out of here, innit? Like, bro, I remember, he picks the ball up, innit? And he turns to Emery. I've seen on the footage. So maybe Emery gave him like the all clear. Just do his thing, because once he turned and he said, can I have it? And I can't see Emery in the picture, but he takes the ball and then Digne starts to run off. So it's not like he went against the manager's orders, it doesn't seem, but yeah, it was just
that's just players bickering, man. Standard. That
it was just jokes to watch. I guess Digne had two. Bailey must have been thinking, you know what? Nah, let me take this one. But...
And what did he do?
Oh, that was the worst out of the lot, man.
What did he do, man?
So yeah, but final action of the game. Pau Torres wins a free kick for another nasty tackle that the referee had encouraged by not booking their players sooner. We launch it into the box. Di Gregorio comes out for it. It looks like he's already mistimed his jump before Carlos even makes contact.
Yeah.
Carlos jumps up. Now they're saying he's knocked him in his rib cage to whatever, make him go off balance or whatever. Rodgers controls the ball, taps it in, and the referee points to the center circle as if to say goal. Rodgers goes off celebrating.
I was just want to say that was the weirdest atmosphere in terms of celebrations I felt at Villa Park. Think last minute Champions League against Juventus, and I saw half the stand not celebrating because they didn't know what had happened or the decision that had been given, and half the stand like celebrating, go mental because they'd just gone with it and thought it was a goal. That was the weirdest I felt of a celebration for any goal we'd scored, because there was so much confusion within the fan base at that moment in time. It was mad. And considering the time, the opposition, the competition, everyone should be going mental. But obviously, because of the referee's performance throughout that game, no one had an idea or a clue what decision he was going to give. That just felt weird. It felt really weird.
I wasn't celebrating, man. I didn't celebrate at all, bro, because I just knew. I was just watching him from the time, and like when he was just going over to the keeper and just making sure, like if body language would have been different, he would have already started walking over to the halfway line. Like I just knew he was gonna disallow that. And it's weird in Europe. Like I remember Watkins' goal when he got disallowed. They don't signal properly that it's okay, it's not a goal given. It's weird. Like they do this weird this protocol where it's just like carry on with the play without letting the fans know what's happened. And it felt like the same yesterday. Like he's pointed to the center circle for a goal. Must have changed his mind listening into his speaker to what they've said. Not even gone to the screen to look at him himself, obviously. And then just when I seen the ball stay next to the keeper, I thought this isn't a goal. I'm not even celebrating. Like I'd waste my time. Yeah. And then it finishes 0-0, bro. Villa go to 9th in the Champions League. Only separated by goal difference, to be fair, not even points. So level on points with 6 in Leverkusen. 3 games left. Leipzig, Celtic, Monaco. It's in our hands, bro. Monaco.
Strong position, man. Strong position.
It's in our hands, like literally. Yeah. It's in our hands. I mean, there's 3 teams below us that are also level on points. In Sporting, Brest and Lille. But it would feel gotten if we've done all this to win 3 games at the start to not get top 8. Like, I know we still qualify, but top 8 is a whole different level of not having that extra 2 games and having a better seeding. So yeah, I'm being real. I'll be gutted if we don't get top 8 from here.
And you have to think as well, the one goal we've conceded this whole tournament is from our player picking up the ball from a goal kick.
Mings, what have you done, man?
That's the only goal we've conceded is from a penalty from our player picking the ball up in the box. If someone had said that to you after 5 games in the Champions League, the only goal you conceded is because your defender picked up the ball with his hands,
I'll be like, oh, was
the
it
penalty
Mings?
was given. Oh yeah, I bet you would. I bet you would. But yeah, that's insane to me. So the defensive performances, shout out Villa for that, because to keep 4 out of 5 clean sheets in this competition is insane.
Yeah,
And it would be gutting. It would put, just because of that, on that basis, like it would be gutting, because I feel like we deserve to get this 8th position, and if we play to know how we know we can in the next 3, I think we can get more than enough points to be in that position. I think 7 points does it.
And this is what's funny. This is what's funny about our defensive season, because if you look at the pure numbers and data, like in the league, we've kept 6 teams this season to under 1 XG, which basically means they didn't create enough quality chances to deserve a goal. So we did our best defensively. We didn't give up quality chances in 6 games. Even the Arsenal game, we barely gave up anything. Like, they had the deflected goal the second, and obviously Trossard scored. So we're kind of seeing our defensive work that happens in the league kind of get repaid in the Champions League a little bit. But then on eye test, we have certain problems and issues with our spacing sometimes, like the Palace goal. But I think overall, defensively, like it's been like a main talking point. Same. But it's just so funny that the data is showing like it's not as bad as everyone makes out. Like, we don't give up that many.
The attacking. I agree. I think you think of the goals conceded, unforced errors, we're right up there. That's a big one. Transition from corners, that's killed us how many times so far this season? That's 2 big variables in why we've conceded so many goals. And then the third one was conceded the number of long-range shots that Dwight McNeil, for example, Emery could do better from there. Matthias Cunha, that's from Maddison free kick. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think if you look back to all the goals, you'd be like, why have we made that mistake? Or why have we been caught out in that position when we shouldn't? That shouldn't happen on transition from our set players as well. And that's been reciprocated in the Champions League because we ain't conceded, except for
that's what I think. That's why I think our attack's the bigger. I'm not saying bigger issue, but our creation is the issue. But I think our creation is down also to the right back, which is a defensive player. But that's an issue with it as well. Like, having a more attacking right back, I think would help us out a bit as well. But so yeah, that's the Champions League. We got Leipzig next that haven't won. No, they haven't got a single point yet. So we have to win that game, but I don't know. That Leipzig just seem like a team. Like, I don't know. That feels like the most difficult fixture we'll have, even though they haven't won yet.
But I was saying this to you when I was saying, like, Leipzig, yeah, okay. Did they get a point last night?
They didn't won. They didn't done nothing.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, so
they got 0 points.
Obviously, a Penno, and we saw what they did to us in pre-season. It was pre-season. You don't take anything from it, but I feel like they still have the player. You know, Gertrude is going to have the game of his life. I don't know. It's a sticky one still, even though they haven't picked any. But we should be going into that game looking to win it for sure, just based on their form. But I think that's going to be a sticky one. The other 2, Monaco are flying. But I think we can still do something away to Monaco, and I think we can beat Celtic at home as well. So 17, I think, guarantees it. 16, it will be close running for us. So that's 2 wins and a loss, or 2 wins and a draw.
So yeah, but that's pretty much it, and all our opinions of the game, man. Chelsea away next, it just gets tougher, isn't it? Like, geez, like Chelsea are in great form.
It's time to step up, man. It's time to step up. Like, if we're going to want to be going to top 4 again, if we want to be considered that team again this season, you have to step up. We can't be looking at these games and going, they are tough on paper, but we've got to be looking to go and.
We need to win, bro. But we need to win, but in the league, we haven't been showing it in the league, man. But it's another must-win game. Like, we can't let if Chelsea already how many points? Sorry, so they're 3 points clear. 3 points clear. Feels like more, to be fair. I guess 9 plus goal difference is probably another point as well if we're saying it like that.
Yeah, it's a long
Yeah,
season though, but I hear it. But yeah, but like I think if you consider us to be in that position, you should be going to still looking to win those games.
Yeah, gotta win.
And like play within yourself. Yeah, but if that's not the case and that doesn't happen, then we'll be looking for top 7.
Yeah, bro. I think that's it for the pod.
Yeah. Thanks all for joining. We'll have a preview for the Chelsea game coming up as well. Yeah, just another big one, as you said, bro. And yeah, as always, if you could subscribe if you're new, and also we have a membership going on as well. If you'd like to become a member, there's extra perks within that. Please click the link on the homepage as well. We really appreciate if you could do so. But yeah, that's it from me and my bro as well. As I said, we'll have a match preview for the Chelsea game. So up the Villa, and yeah, Champions League glory is still on the cards. We can still go all the way up the Villa.